Everyone wants happiness. They chase it. They search for it. They wonder why it always feels just out of reach. But most people will never find it. Not because happiness doesn't exist, but because they're looking in the wrong places. They believe happiness comes from having more. More money, more success, more approval, more distractions. They think once they reach a certain point, happiness will just appear. But it never does. Because happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's not handed to you. It's built, earned, taken. If you feel empty, lost, unsatisfied with where you are, there's a reason, and it's not the world. It's not bad luck. It's not other people. It's how you're living. It's what you're chasing. It's the way you see yourself and the choices you make every single day. So if you want real happiness, the kind that doesn't fade, the kind that stays even when life gets hard, you need to understand one thing. Happiness isn't waiting for you. You have to create it. And today, we're going to talk about exactly how to do that. Most people spend their lives running, chasing, searching, reaching for something they believe will finally make them happy. They tell themselves that once they have more money, more status, more recognition, happiness will follow. But that's a lie. Happiness isn't something you catch. It's something you build. The world tells you that success will make you happy. That if you work harder, earn more, gain more respect, you will finally feel satisfied. But look around. How many people have all these things and are still miserable? No amount of money will fix an empty life. Money can buy comfort. It can buy security. But it cannot buy purpose. A man who builds his life around wealth alone will wake up one day with everything he wanted, except happiness.
A rich man with no direction is just as lost as a poor man with no options. A man with a full bank account but an empty life is still starving. A man who thinks happiness comes with a price tag will always be paying for it. Wealth means nothing if you have no reason to wake up in the morning. No amount of approval will fill a man who doesn't respect himself. Many chase validation, believing that if the world sees them as important, they will finally feel complete. They seek applause, admiration, status. But what happens when the applause stops? A man who relies on approval will never be free. A man who changes himself for acceptance will never know who he really is. A man who needs constant validation will never feel good enough. If you cannot respect yourself, no amount of respect from others will matter. No amount of distractions will silence a mind at war with itself. Most people try to escape themselves. They drown their thoughts in noise, entertainment, pleasure, anything to avoid facing the truth. But distractions only delay the inevitable. A man who runs from his problems will always be running. A man who fills his life with meaningless pleasures will always feel empty. A man who refuses to sit with his own thoughts will never find peace. True happiness doesn't come from running. It comes from facing yourself and building something real. Happiness isn't about what you have. It's about who you are. It's not about chasing more. It's about becoming more. A man who has built discipline, purpose, and self-respect doesn't need to chase happiness. He carries it with him. A man who knows his value doesn't need approval. He commands respect without asking for it. If you're not happy, stop running after things that don't matter. Start becoming the man who does. A man without control is a man who will never be happy. Most people think happiness comes from having everything they desire: money, success, admiration. But happiness isn't about getting more. It's about controlling what you already have: your thoughts, your actions, your emotions. The truth is simple. If you are not in control, you're at the mercy of everything around you. If your emotions control you, you'll never have peace. A man ruled by emotions
is a man ruled by chaos. He is tossed around by anger, fear, doubt, never steady, never certain, never in command. The weak explode in anger when things don't go their way. The strong remain calm. The weak let fear stop them from moving forward. The strong push through it. The weak let doubt paralyze them. The strong take action, even when they don't have all the answers. Happiness doesn't come from feeling good all the time. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you are in control. If the opinions of others control you, you'll never be free. Most people are prisoners, not to bars, but to the expectations of others. They spend their lives trying to impress, to fit in, to gain approval. And in doing so, they give away their freedom. A man who changes himself for others will never know who he truly is. A man who seeks approval will never have self-respect. A man who listens to every opinion will never hear his own voice. If your happiness depends on what others think, you will never have it. Because no matter what you do, there will always be someone who disapproves. Real freedom begins when you stop caring. If your weaknesses control you, you'll never be strong. Every man has weaknesses, but the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is who controls who. A weak man gives in to laziness, excuses, distractions. A strong man overcomes them. A weak man lets bad habits dictate his future. A strong man breaks them before they break him. A weak man hopes things will get better. A strong man makes them better. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be in control. Because the moment you master yourself, the moment you refuse to let your weaknesses decide your life, that's when you truly start to live. Happiness comes from control, not from getting everything you want. Most people believe they'll be happy when they have more money, more success, more comfort. But happiness isn't found in what you collect. It's found in what you command. Happiness comes from controlling what you can and letting go of what you can't. A man who has mastered himself doesn't need to chase happiness. He carries it with him. Happiness isn't found in pleasure. It's found in purpose. Most people think happiness means avoiding struggle. They chase comfort, convenience, and easy pleasures. They seek shortcuts, instant gratification, and a life without obstacles. But comfort never built anything worth having. A man who spends his life avoiding difficulty avoids growth. A man who only looks for pleasure never finds meaning. And a man who runs from responsibility runs from himself. A man with no mission is a man with no direction. Every great man, every strong leader, every person who has built something that lasts, they had a mission. A man without a mission wakes up every day without purpose. He moves through life with no reason, no goal, no destination. And because of that, he feels empty. A weak man waits for life to give him direction. A strong man creates his own. A weak man drifts, following the easiest path. A strong man chooses his path, no matter how difficult. A weak man exists. A strong man builds. If you don't know where you're going, how can you ever be happy? A man with no challenge is a man with no growth. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in struggle. Most people run from challenges. They think life should be easy, that things should come without effort. But without struggle, there is no progress. The strongest men were built in the hardest battles. The greatest minds were sharpened by the toughest challenges. The most successful people got there by embracing difficulty, not avoiding it. If you are not growing, you are standing still. And if you are standing still, you are falling behind. A man with no discipline is a man with no pride. A man who lacks discipline will never be proud of himself. He may find temporary comfort, but deep down, he knows he is not who he could be.
A man who quits when things get hard will always feel weak. A man who avoids responsibility will always feel small. A man who refuses to do the hard work will never respect himself. Happiness isn't about having an easy life. It's about knowing you are living the right way. If you want to be happy, build something that matters. Not distractions, not comfort, something real. Build strength, build respect, build a life that makes you proud. Because in the end, happiness is not given, it is built. Happiness isn't something you wait for. It's not something you hope for. It's not hidden in success, approval, or distractions. It's something you create. You build it with discipline. You shape it with purpose. You earn it by becoming someone you respect. So stop chasing what doesn't matter. Take back control. Build something real. And one day, without even searching, you'll wake up and realize you don't need to find happiness anymore, because it's already yours.